Welcome to the Angmar Archives, a channel interested in the art and artifacts inspired by the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm Julian Maniff, and today Sam and I are delighted to be joined by Jordan Costner, co-founder, CEO, and creative director at Syzygy Forge. Jordan is an artist, designer, and entrepreneur. He began working in licensing in 2019, collaborating with a video game company, before branching out and setting up Syzygy Forge in 2023. In an appropriately Lord of the Rings manner for Jordan and his two partners, Sean and Nick, at Syzygy, three is indeed company. Syzygy Forge is a creative studio based in East Tennessee and specializes in a range of premium licensed collectibles, which we will explore together today. Jordan, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the channel, and if I may borrow my now customary line from the Witch King, Jordan Costner, this is your hour.
Great. Well, thank you, Julian, and thank you, Sam. Thank you for having me.
I will now share my screen and we will get right into it. Let me know when you can see.
Yep, we're good.
Yeah, all
Perfect.
good.
Well, Jordan, I suppose let's begin at the beginning.
Sure.
Syzygy Forge, how did the company come about? Where was the idea kernel come from, and what is the kind of aspirations or ambitions for the company?
Yeah, we'll have to go back several years and try to put all of that into like 60 seconds here. But yeah, I would say when I was 12, first seeing the Lord of the Rings in theaters and then getting those extended DVD sets and watching all of the bonus material of all the incredible artists like Richard Taylor, John Howe, Daniel Falconer, just creating these amazing pieces for film. And I think that really planted the seed for my career in the arts and starting Syzygy. Going back to 2019, I worked with another company in saw what not to do in licensing and all the right things to do in licensing and finally ventured out on my own and like you mentioned 2023 started Syzygy Forge and the idea behind Syzygy. I have so many people ask me about the name and what is that? How do you pronounce it? And I'm like, oh, maybe I did the wrong thing there, or maybe I did exactly the right thing. But yeah, we took the idea of like a celestial alignment basically is the definition of syzygy, and we kind of turned that into a really cool Star Forge logo there, and I think it appropriately encompasses the direction of the arts here in our studio, and so yeah.
And Jordan, your background is actually as an artist and a designer, is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So apart from licensing, we've done a number of different things. I've done different props. I worked with Universal Studios for the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park. I was given 3D files to Tim's night vision goggles that you see in the film when they're at the T-Rex paddock, and we took that and were able to create a pretty accurate replica to be used in Universal parks and in different displays and stuff like that. And always been a film buff and always been an artist and just creating stuff. So it's been fun to combine all of those.
Yes, yeah. It sounds really interesting, and what a great way, interestingly, to start from the licensing side rather than the kind of more production side, in some ways, and perhaps that gives you a lot of opportunity to think about more strategically and I suppose a bigger vision of what you might want to do than when you're stuck into the immediate, minutia of something that's being made. Has that kind of approach from the bigger license overarching side of things, I suppose, shaped the way you see the future of Syzygy, or how does that influence it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good question. If you take a look at our site, you'll notice that it's not full of products. So something, we really don't do is pump out products just because we have a license to an intellectual property. And of course, at the end of the day, it's all about money for the IP holder and us as well. But, you know, coming from my background, I don't want to ever label slap something and call it, you know, nice and list it and sell to people. I
Mhm.
there's intention behind it. There's a lot of work and effort and time on our part to get something that's um, not only a collectible, but also can be part of a collection for years to come. We don't want to offer junk.
I think you can tell with the first few pieces that you've started to release. I think that's evident, and maybe if we start looking at that, and I suppose the first thing that you announced as a company was your partnership with Warner Brothers and the Tennessee Legend Distillery, and this idea of collectible spirits, which is really new for the Middle Earth world.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah, so yeah, collectible spirits was not immediately something that I had envisioned us doing, but it just kind of fell in our lap based on previous work, and we had a good connection here with Warner Brothers, and already being a fan of the films, we pitched this idea to them. It was a category, like you said, it's not been tapped into previously. And so we became the first licensee of Warner Brothers to do a collectible Lord of the Rings spirits. And partnering with the right distillery on this it sets the all the right equations, in getting that um, perfect product at the end. And Tennessee Legend, these guys are used to the world of licensing, and they're right down the highway from us here at the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. So I wanted to work with people locally. And not only that, I also want to work with people who are fans of the films as well. And we get all of that perfect combination with Tennessee Legend. And something that's not been officially announced yet, you guys get the exclusive here, but we've actually partnered with a distillery in New Zealand called Pocono Whiskey. And they have
Fantastic.
an amazing array of products, and they're about an hour north of the Hobbiton film set. So we'll be tapping into the tourism market coming through, and they're at the airports in Wellington and Auckland as well.
Brilliant. That sounds really exciting, and no better place really to, I suppose, link the two worlds, the Middle Earth and its earthly reincarnation in New Zealand. That's very, very exciting. And
Yeah.
just out of interest on the Tennessee distillery, I mean, Tennessee is clearly very famous for all sorts of whiskey and bourbon.
hmm
Um, what's the kind of what's the word, providence, or what's the type of grain or blend that the distillery specializes in, or do they do a kind of mix of single malt and blended and all sorts?
They have a variety of options, and really my part in that is give me samples, let me taste, and yeah, we drink on the job here. Don't tell anybody, but yeah, the biggest thing, yeah, you can design a label
Hmm.
You can put months and months of work into a label, right? And have the best design ever, but if the liquid inside doesn't meet that standard, it at the end of the day, it's like, why did we do it? So partnering with these guys, they have a variety of options, and Justin, the lead guy there, he is like I said, a fan of the
Hmm.
films himself, and puts a lot of work and effort into the different flavors. And I would probably have to pull him in on a future call to answer all your questions, but we don't put juice, quote unquote, in the
Yeah,
bottles. We put good stuff. So
brilliant, brilliant.
I was going to follow on from that and just ask about, in terms of the flavors and designs, is there a thought process behind the particular themes, and like are the matching regions and flavors matching certain regions and stuff?
yeah, absolutely. So when we first got the license for this, we immediately went to the Green Dragon, which we'll get to here in a bit. But we wanted something that could be in world, and that could taste a part of Middle Earth as well. So there's an equal amount of time spent on flavors and of course regions that we put this into, um, what works best for that market at the end of the and but with that being said, at the end of the day, it's the art, that we
Mm.
put on it. It's the quality spirit that goes into the bottle. And again, we don't like rushing things, and we don't like label slapping. So yeah, it's definitely an adventure there.
Brilliant. So you've got to on one side, you've got the partnership with Warner Brothers, Discovery, and the distillery. And then on the other side, you've got a partnership with Middle-earth Enterprises to
Correct.
do collectibles and pieces linked to the literary works rather than the movie trilogy. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. So there's a fine line here in between these two licenses. So anything from the films that you see Syzygy produce is going to be a collectible spirit under license with Warner Brothers Discovery Global Consumer Products and Middle Earth Enterprises. And we love working with both these licensees. But Middle Earth Enterprises, we just recently announced that partnership a few months ago, and we're excited to be producing um, weapons, armor, statues, and wall plaques from the literary works of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
It's fantastic and so exciting to hear I suppose a new branch of representations based on the literary works. I think that's probably one of the most exciting things for me. Whenever you announced this with Syzygy, the opportunity to see a different representation from the one we're so familiar with from the movies.
Mm.
And I suppose another partnership that seems to be core to that would also be the one with John Howe, which you announced late last year. Um, and with as such a legendary artist in the Middle Earth world,
Yeah.
how did that come about, and what are the kind of plans for this potential new branch?
Yeah, so John is amazing, obviously. And in addition to our core line of Syzygy Collectibles under the Middle Earth license, we were able to collaborate with John on doing pieces from his amazing illustrations. So we're bringing a lot of those to life in collectible form, whether it be armor, weapons, or statues. We have a lot in the pipeline, and it's been incredible to work with him. we have been in communication actually for a few years now, just back and forth on a variety of projects, and he's such an amazing guy. I remember the first time I had a call with him. I was so nervous. I was like, it's the John Howe, and the call initiated, and he's just so down to earth, and a real wizard, a real life wizard, and it was just it's been great, and we've been able to bounce ideas back and forth off of each other, and we're really enjoying that collaborative process with him, and it's been amazing.
Brilliant. I mean, even just looking at this, the constellation of partnerships and licenses is incredibly exciting. So we can perhaps dig into the first of those branches, that being the collectible spirits. And you opened this line with your Green Dragon wheated whiskey. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about how the idea of the Green Dragon as the first of this new line of whiskeys come about?
Yeah, so like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Green Dragon was really at the forefront of this license, and I mean it's obviously where the hobbits enjoy their pints at the end of a long work day. So bringing this piece was priority number one for us, and I wanted it to look like it was a part of that world, and that it could sit on a shelf there at the Green Dragon Inn, and minus the barcode, minus the website, and the legal jargon on it. This hand dipped wax top really just seals the product, and make it that much more appealing to the collector's shelf. And I have a I have a sample here. What you don't get, and I don't know if you can make that out, but it's got a stamp of the
Mhm.
green dragon on top of that
Awesome.
wax dip there. So yeah, linen paper, and it's a gorgeous piece, and uh I I love showing it off, and
Mhm.
also love drinking it as well. So
That
Um,
follows on with my question because I was going to ask if you kind of going to see them mainly as collector pieces, or do you want people to drink them as well? Because maybe they'll make everyone buy two, keep one.
that it exactly. People are buying two, and one to put up on the shelf and one to enjoy with fellowship. So it's
Nice.
been great.
Brilliant. Well, I really like the curved, kind of gentle bottle. The kind of circular base, the very hobbity geometry that is being used on it. Was that a bespoke bottle, or was that something that there's a kind of range of options that you can work with the distillery to produce?
Yeah, there is a range of options. If you're doing custom glass, that obviously gets more expensive, but we wanted to offer something to consumers
Mhm.
that was a high quality product, but also at the same time without breaking the bank.
Yeah, yeah,
So with this bottle shape, obviously it's an old world.
yeah.
Um, style bottle. And yeah, you're right about the curves of and indicative of the Hobbit architecture and culture there. So uh, yeah, we're um, without being too prideful, I'm proud of it. I love
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
I wish that we were able to export it. I'm very interested to taste it. It seems like it's such a nice object as it is to look at, but as is always the case with alcohol, you do want to taste it as well as look at it.
Yeah,
So maybe in the
yeah.
future there will be an opportunity.
Hopefully, yeah. You never know where the wind will bring you in terms of licensing. So we would love to offer this to the European market at some place sometime soon.
Perhaps a partnership with a Scottish or an Irish distillery might be an option if there is one in New Zealand. That would certainly be very, very welcome. But I'm sure these things take a lot of time and effort, so um, it'll be a lovely thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're definitely headed in the right direction there. You have you been a fly in our meetings, Julian, on the
I
walks?
have I have not, but I certainly enjoy my whiskey. So yeah. Um, it looks brilliant. It looks fantastic, and you could really imagine it as something that could just make its way onto a real Middle Earth hub shelf. So I think it's a really really lovely thing.
I love the
And
small details too, with the for the brave and true along the top, little things like that make a difference as well. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Bonus
Um,
points if you sing the song while you drink it. So yeah.
I think I'll pass on that one. I think we don't want to lose our audience.
Yeah,
So,
true.
um, your second collectible spirit in this line was this very different designed Shadow and Flame whiskey, and that's a single malt as well, straight American, which seems to be part of the story, I suppose. Do you want to maybe talk a little
Yeah.
bit about how that came about?
Yeah, so I do want to apologize for putting straight American over a Belrog and Gandalf, but blame that on our government, not me. I we tried to work this out with the government to but they have their legal classification system and we have to abide by that and um so while it is weird to see straight American hovering there on on the
Mhm,
bottle, we hopefully it made up for it with this design. And this was another design that sort of immediately came to me when we first got the license, and we although we were not trying to do like an in-world bottle with this, we certainly tried our best to incorporate all the core themes, the sharp edges of Dwarven architecture. Glamdring, Glamdring is my favorite weapon in from the films, and yeah, so this page here shows a good breakdown of this design that you don't immediately see. We should have a physical bottle here in a few weeks, and hoping to get this up for pre-order soon after. But it will have that tear strip and of course have glamdring in the center of that tear strip right on the top of the bottle cap is a design that is actually you really don't see it in the films but unless you look really close on a 4K version but this design is on the belt of glamdring and so we just took that and just popped it right on top and it worked out really well.
That's awesome.
it looks great. Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of complexity in the printing and the labeling of this. I know you've
So
mentioned previously that the Balrog is actually on the inside of the bottle, so behind you see him through the liquid. Is that right?
correct. And that has been a headache just to get right. And again, we're taking our time on it.
Hmm.
But on the very front of the bottle, you'll have like this transparent front. You'll have the verbiage there at the top, Gandalf on the bridge of Khazad-dûm. And you look through the liquid at the Belrog image there. And this is really interesting because we went back to the archives looking through images of this particular area, and because in the film it's at an angle, right?
Hmm.
So we don't get a straight shot of that passageway in Khazad-dûm. So, fun fact, the Bridge of Khazad-dûm is not actually perfectly in the middle of those columns. It's actually
Huh.
um, off-centered, and I believe they did that for the film angle. I'm not too
Mhm.
sure. But if you actually go back and see the Weta bigature or miniature, you'll notice that the bridge is actually off-centered there. But for this bottle, I'm a stickler for details and stickler for accuracy. We put the bridge in the middle of those columns. So
I think that makes sense. And personally, it would have annoyed me no end if the bridge was offset from the from the symmetry of those columns. But that's a really interesting detail. I wonder, I guess because as you say, most of that scene is at a kind of two-thirds, three-quarter angle rather
right.
than directly face on. I guess there must be to do with the frame field of view and the aspect ratio, but um, it's a very interesting design, and I like the back of the label as well with the Gate of Moria. That's another very nice touch.
Yeah, we actually the border around this, eagle-eyed fans will notice that symmetrical shape there is actually taking from Balin's tomb. So if you look close in those scenes, you'll see this little sideways square rhombus, whatever you want to call it, along the walls of his tomb. So we took that and we incorporated it as the border here on the back label. And we also had to incorporate Saruman's foreboding quote about how the dwarves delved too greedily and too deep, and actually another hard asset to for us to was getting the doors of Durin from just a straight shot. And
Mhm.
yeah, we love Peter Jackson. We
Mhm.
love the films, but we needed straight shots for our art here, and we did end up finding a really good photo from the archives of a straight shot of Durin's door. So that's 99% accurate to the film there. So.
Brilliant. And so all of the, I suppose, visuals on the spirits, then just to reiterate, they are all linked to the movies. They're all based on the screenshots or details or moments from the movie trilogy rather than your own interpretation.
Yes, for the most part, whenever we try to represent a character from the world, represent architecture, a prop, anything, we always do our research and we always go back to the archives. And um, I am such a stickler for accuracy that I if something's out of place, I will see it immediately. So. Yeah, we do a lot of yeah, that's a great shot of the front there. So we do our research.
And do you want to maybe talk a little bit about the difference in the alcohol itself? What is is it shadowy and flamey, or how does it differ from the Green Dragon, which I imagine is a lot more soft and mellow?
Yeah, yeah. So you're spot on, Julian. We'll definitely have to get you um to try this one day.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in the States, let us
Uh-huh.
know. But yeah, Shadow and Flame is much more bold than the Green Dragon. Has is very prominently bold and smoky on the palate. So
Mhm.
and it's a great classification of that straight American
Mhm.
single malt whiskey. So um, Justin and the team did amazing job on this. And originally, when we were exploring this theme, we thought about something spicy, to kind of mimic the Balrog, and and the flames and stuff like that. But after trying this particular whiskey from Tennessee Legend, it quickly changed our minds, and it's very high quality, and we hope you guys can get a chance to try it one day.
I
That'll be
was going to
brilliant.
ask you as well. Have you got because obviously this is targeted at Lord of the Rings fans, but have you found you've had anyone that's not necessarily a Lord of the Rings fan that's come in for like the alcohol side of it and really enjoyed it, or a bit of both?
100%. We get a lot of messages on Instagram. Some people have done tasting reviews, and they have their whiskey influencers, and so we hold our breath and as we hit play on the Instagram reel and hope that they're going to like it. And um, we've been fortunate enough to to pull in some of those whiskey enthusiasts who have said nothing but positive things on the liquid. And everybody who is a true whiskey connoisseur would look at the Green Dragon and say 4 years, that's a baby. But we've had a lot of people try it and be pleasantly surprised. Again, we want to offer collectibles that are quality, but also in a price range that anybody could afford.
Mm. And are they, so to speak, commercially distributed? Can you go in a bar and order a Green Dragon, or are they currently just for, I suppose, consumers direct order?
Yeah, so the government here is bizarre, as you guys know. We go through a what they call the three-tiered system, and it's really been in place since the days of Prohibition. So, in my opinion, it's archaic and outdated, and we go through distributors and retailers, and we have great working relationships with the retailers and distributors that we do, but we can't legally sell this directly to consumers because of this regulation. So it prohibits us from getting the product out there our way.
Mhm.
Um, at the end of the day, yeah, you can. I believe Total Wine picked up the Green Dragon, and it's we're slowly getting out there here in the States, and as more and more people find out about us, and it's been great to see it listed on Total Wine. A lot of other sites appear to be using it, but what I tell everybody, please order from our sites. We can't really hold anybody else accountable if you order it from them and you don't get the bottle. So uh, please go through us, and we have a great support team here with orders and everything like that. So yeah.
Brilliant. So the place to go would be the Syzygy Forge website. That's where you can order in the States. Well, currently the Green Dragon only, but soon Shadow and Flame as well.
Yes, very soon. Hopefully we'll get a pre-order link up at the end of the month for this. So yeah.
Brilliant. And I suppose staying tangentially with whiskey and whiskey barrels, your first collectible that you announced outside of the collectible spirits line is these barrel lids, whiskey barrel lids,
Yeah.
engraved with I suppose bespoke artworks related to the films again. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
do you want to maybe talk a little bit about those and how they came about?
Sure, sure. Yeah. So these are a good hybrid transition away from whiskey. We're not stopping the whiskey line, but these were a good little segue into the collectibles, and we were fortunate enough to get Daniel Falconer's artwork on the Green Dragon as well as the Prancing Pony, and he knocked these designs out of the park. He's a brilliant artist and very thankful. for these, and they have done very well. And when the concept was first brought up, I was like, not sure about that. But these are when I first got my hands on one. These are very heavy American oak, and they're laser engraved. They're not painted on. They're not decals. They're not stickers. These are actually engraved. And when I first picked one up, I was like, wow, these are amazing. I'm gonna get a green dragon for my office now. So, um, they turned out really great. The green dragon I think somebody mentioned to me the other day. It looks a bit off-centered. There's some shadows there on the right side that kind of make it look off-centered, but I can assure everybody watching that we use a laser guided system. All of these are perfectly symmetrical on the wood there. But yeah, these are real barrel lids that were used on whiskey barrels. So they're actually part of the Middle Earth universe more than some people would think. Just they kind of harken back to the barrel out of Bond's chapter in The Hobbit, and uh, these are great and not something I would have immediately thought of. But
Mm.
yeah.
And are they finished in any particular way? Are they sort of lacquered or are they stained? What way are they treated after the engraving?
Yeah, yeah. So they're actually stained and sealed, and yeah, you shouldn't get any splinters picking these up. And they go very nicely on office wall, on a bar wall, or a tavern wall. So yeah, they're beautiful. I wish I had one next to me. I think it's downstairs in my other room, but yeah, they're incredible.
Seems like you do such a good job kind of balancing it being um, a piece of collectible artwork with something that's authentic to like spirit culture as well, which seems really good.
Yeah, yeah, they're great. They can sit up on a shelf beside the spirits and equally sell. So it's been great to have both of
Mm.
best worlds here on the shelf.
And I suppose being actual oak, American oak, they're each one is unique in some ways because no two ones would be identical in terms of grain and I suppose paneling and the direction of that. Just as I look at them, one question I've got is, was it intentional that the prancing pony has the grain running horizontally whilst the green dragon runs vertically?
Yes, good catch. If you look in the actual design Daniel did, you can see the grain running horizontal. So we wanted to match that grain with his design. And yes, you're correct. All of these are unique and different because they all uh, are natural wood. So you get different grain looks and appearances, and some may be um, like different. If you look at the Lord of the Rings plaque, it's got grain lines running in all different ways, really. So.
Hmm. Hmm.
But each one is a limited edition of 500. So these won't be around forever. And they're engraved with your edition number on the reverse.
Hmm.
So um,
And
yeah,
do they come with a hanger of some sort, a kind of like a frame, or I don't know what the back of those looks like, so to speak. Are they ready to just be hung on the wall, or do you need something to attach them to?
yeah, they have two like triangle shaped hangers on the back, and
Okay, yeah,
some people will run some wire, some people will just hang two screws or
yeah,
something,
yeah,
and
yeah.
but yeah, they're ready to hang on the wall.
And just one final one on these. It's mostly the prancing pony one that maybe it's a trick of the eye, but is there a rim around them, or is the wood just Is there a kind of like light iris on the edge and the rounding, and that's it? There's no metal rim as such, like a tray that they sit on?
Correct. Yeah, there's no metal rim. The only metal pieces are on the reverse with the hooks, the hanging hooks. So yeah, they're all comprised of one round uh solid piece of wood. So
Yeah, yeah. Lovely. The I think the Green Dragon is my favorite. I have to say of the three. They are it's a very playful, hobbity, characterful design. I'm sure it'll go really well with the whiskey bottle as well.
yeah, it's great. It's my favorite as well.
I do like the By Barlam and Butterbar bit on the Prancing Pony.
Yes. Yeah, very nice. Um, and I suppose if we shift our focus away from the collectible spirit side of things, and move on to the literary branch, so to speak. Um, you've announced this partnership with John Howe towards the end of 2025, and it's incredibly exciting for all of us Tolkien enthusiasts and collectors. Um, I suppose my question is, how did the how did that partnership come about, and was there a particular range of ideas or products that you had in mind and suggested to John that would be interesting to collaborate on, that you can bring to life some of his visions and artworks, or how did that come about?
Yeah, good question. John is fundamentally uh Middle Earth, right? So all of his iterations of scenes of characters, he is part of the DNA that we all know and love when it comes to Middle Earth. So taking on this collection of collectibles without him wasn't really something I wanted to do. But reaching out to him and again going back to those earlier conversations where my gosh, this guy is a wizard and through, and it's been incredible looking at the designs in taking them into a 3D shape and then real
Mhm.
world something tangible that you can hold and look and see and feel. It's been incredible to just watch his designs come to life, and we are extremely privileged and honored to do that with him.
Mhm.
And it's been really fun.
Brilliant. I'm very, very excited to see the first fruits of that labor and collaboration. It will be, I'm sure, something that a lot of people will be very, very enthused for. And just to, I suppose, be clear again with the various branches or constellations of Syzygy, you have collectibles that will be based on the John Howe artworks, but you also have your own line of collectibles which will not be based on John's works.
Correct. We'll have our own core line of Syzygy products underneath the Middle Earth literary license, and then in addition to that, we'll have our John Howe collection. Yeah. So
And for your non-John Howe, or perhaps it is, you've started teasing these little icons when you announced
hmm
the line, and I guess literary buffs will very quickly recognize the hat and the feather and the lily pads and the
hmm
G rune. And I'm sure you're not able to talk in any great detail about these, but um, could you maybe talk a little bit about what these icons might allude to?
What do they mean to you, Julian and Sam? Do you have any input? Let's hear it from you guys.
Well, certainly this hat is and feather seems to be particularly reminiscent of a hat and a feather that we all know and love from the famously unadapted chapter or chapters of the Lord of the Rings.
Mm.
Good old Tom Bombadil and his yellow hat and yellow boots and blue coat. Um, and I just wonder what some of these icons might be. The lily pad, of course, perhaps is a link to Goldberry, which is also something that we've never seen before, and certainly would be very interested to see more of. Another enigmatic character in the Legendarium, both her and Tom, that I guess will be very enthused to see something come out of. Sam, have you had any
Mm.
thoughts on these?
Same as you, but I guess it's the thing that I think excites people as soon as like those images came up is the idea of things we haven't seen produced visually very much from the
Hmm.
books. I think that's what's exciting and could potentially really draw a lot of people in. And if it is, you know, Tom Bombadil and Goldberry, that would be a perfect place to start, I think.
I think so. And
I,
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
oh yeah, I was just gonna say I zoned out. Were you guys talking about Tom Bombadil? Yeah, I missed that. Though I was yeah, it's what can I say? That I won't get in trouble for. Yes. We have very obviously from the video that we put out and from those clues that we dropped at the end, we are in the middle of a big Bombadil project, and it while it won't be any, how do I word this, any iteration that you guys are, I mean, he's an enigma, right? And so
Mhm.
is the rest of this conversation about him. So
He
yeah,
could be many things. Yes.
I had a very clear concept of Tom at the beginning that I um produced visually, and we presented it to John, and John loved it. And so, while it's not a quote unquote John Howe collection piece, it is a hybrid, and we are working with John on producing some type
Something.
of collectible uh, for you guys. So
Very good.
I think I've said too much, but yeah, yeah.
That's fine.
That's very exciting. I have to say. And I suppose just so that we don't miss on the third little teased icon, there was the famous G rune, of course. So again, I've just pulled together here a few images of what that might suggest or where that might go. So again, very interesting, very exciting. And I guess one thing that just comes to my mind is that with Sirian McKellen being so linked to Gandalf and so ingrained as the face of this character, I think it will be very interesting to see what you guys do and develop based on the artworks that in some ways were the reason why he was Gandalf in the first place. There's something
That's
particularly archetypal, I suppose, in this wizard. So I'm very excited to see what you guys develop.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we all love Syrian, right? I had the privilege and honor of meeting him last year in London briefly, and just incredible guy, incredible actor, and we love him. And obviously, this is under a separate license from the film. So how do we convey a Gandalf? How do we convey a character that we all know and love, that and we immediately apply Syrian's face to? How do we um, produce that? And I think the image, not this one, this no, yeah, this one. So this, I think John did this, if I'm not mistaken, in the late 80s. And Peter Jackson actually took this and gave it to, I think it was Nyla Dixon, the costume designer for the films, and said, this is what I want Gandalf to look like. So in many ways, this is the definitive painting of Gandalf from John, and it's had a significant impact on pop culture and film. So yeah, it is a challenge to produce something that will immediately resonate with the fans, and that's what we strive for, is something that as soon as you look at it, you know who it is. You see the pointy hat, you see the staff, and but not only that, we want to take it up another level. Yes, you recognize it as the character Gandalf, but we want to take it to the level of, wow, this is Gandalf, right? So, um, yeah, it's a good, healthy challenge, but it is a challenge at the end of the day and the weekend.
Absolutely, and I guess maybe with the other characters that we've mentioned, perhaps the some of the challenge might be that when there isn't an actor, you don't have the, I suppose, the problem or the question of likeness to a certain face. But then how do you make a face that is that character from the book? I think that will be something that will be really interesting. Um, and I
Yeah,
guess. Mhm,
it's funny you brought that up. We last week we actually put someone in costume and just to get the natural look of
mhm,
of
mhm,
of this character. So, um, yeah, it's not taken lightly, Julian. Like we
mm,
we're constantly coming up with stuff and putting someone in uh, a cloak just to see
mm.
how it naturally falls down the back of someone. I mean, that's the kind of attention that we're putting into this.
Brilliant. And just to go a little bit back on the bigger picture, this is literary works of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Correct.
Um, and I mean, in your announcement, you mentioned there's props, there's weapons, there's wall. Is it wall plaques or wall reliefs, or is it perhaps a mixture, as well as the statues, environments? It sounds like it's a whole range. It's not just limited to one or the other.
Right. Yeah, I think you've encompassed the categories.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Brilliant. Well, I certainly am incredibly excited for these whenever they get announced, and whatever you reveal, they will all be. Are they all American produced as well, or are they a mix?
yeah, it'll be a hybrid when it
Hmm, hmm,
comes to this. Unfortunately, there's so many limitations when it comes
hmm,
to manufacturing, even here in the States. So, the barrel lids are produced here,
hmm, hmm.
at the distillery actually. So, um, it's we want to do as much um, manufacturing here as possible, but at the end of the day, it's not 100%
Yeah.
realistic for us yet. We that could and hopefully will change here very soon. But yeah,
And I suppose, Jordan, to close this out, then what is the next what's next on the horizon? What's the next stop for Syzygy in the coming months and year? Is there anything that you're particularly excited for people to see or to taste or to I suppose get enthusiastic about?
Yeah, I would love to show you guys what's over here on a table. I would love to show you what's over there and on the shelf. I would love to show you all all of these incredible projects that we're working on. And I think just getting to that point of a grand reveal, we're slowly getting into the convention space. So n nothing is finalized for an announcement yet, but you will be seeing us at Comic Cons
Mhm,
across the U.S. and hopefully abroad soon. So we'll be revealing certain pieces there at the conventions, and you guys will see quite a bit this year.
mhm,
And again, we don't want to push. We don't want to just pump products out.
mhm,
We're
mhm,
taking our
mhm,
time with this, and we're ensuring um, really quality pieces for guys like you and
mhm,
the shelves behind you. So yeah,
I think that's the most exciting thing is like Lord of the Rings collectors can be very picky in particular, and I think the attention to detail that you guys seem to be, showing is very exciting. I think in anything, the teams that worked on the films, it was always those extra little things, extra attentions to detail that made the difference. And it seems like you guys are kind of following the same kind of strategy.
yeah, exactly. It's either a nightmare or a dream.
mhm.
We'll figure it out soon. So
I think what's really exciting for me is the attention to real materials that you seem to be interested in, real wood, real whiskey, it's real wax. It's all so far everything is real. It's not a resin version of something. It is for some of these more new and bespoke things. I think that's really interesting. It harkens back to the real craft that went into the movies and I suppose into the books of course as well that you could still see on screen when you go and watch it. So I think that's really interesting. The drive to use real materials, make real things
yeah,
rather than kind of imitations or props that are less authentic in some ways.
right. And we will be bringing real metal
Mm,
pieces to the marketplace. But also with that comes, a certain price
mm,
um for that collectible. But we're not opposed to resin
mm,
weapons, but it obviously we all know, I'm a collector too. We all know when we pick up that item
mm,
and sense that weight to it. Um, and it's just something about holding a real spear, something about holding a real sword, a real metal piece, right?
mhm.
Um, it's yeah, uh, it's a process for sure.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I'm sure it comes with some difficulties with shipping and with sort of distribution as well when it comes to real metal weaponry, but I guess that's part of the puzzle and part of the design challenge to overcome all of these obstacles.
Yeah, we'll have a hybrid mix. I mean, we'll
Mm,
we'll have we'll have weapons that are metal.
mhm,
We're striving to produce quote unquote functional
mm,
weapons, but we also know, there obviously there's a higher price with those,
mm,
and
mhm,
but we
mhm,
also know that there's people who um just really maintain a specific budget, so
yeah.
the resin pieces are not overlooked, and
Mhm, mhm,
we definitely want to take care of every collector who wants a piece of what Syzygy is producing. So.
And just to put our UK European minds at risk, whilst the alcohol currently is not available in Europe, will all the rest of your collectibles be available worldwide?
Good news, yes, absolutely
Great.
yes. You can go online right now and you can buy all three barrel heads and soon to be statues and weapons and armor and all kinds of other goodies. So
Fantastic.
Nice.
Well, that's been really brilliant, Jordan. And I think hopefully it's been also helpful to clarify some of the myriad of licensing constellations and questions, which inevitably Tolkien is littered with. But it is it's such an exciting opportunity and such a great range of ideas and of products that you seem to be working on that I couldn't really wait to see more. So, Sam, are there any other thoughts from your side, or are we
It's
happy to?
very excited to potentially go down another rabbit hole of collecting. So.
Or Hobbit hole?
Or rabbit hole, yeah.
there you go. There you go. Hey, we have an obligation to the professor. We have an obligation for you guys, and we have an obligation to produce real relics for you guys to treasure. So we don't take it lightly at all. So.
Awesome.
Well, that's really been brilliant, Jordan. Thank you for your time. Thanks so much for sharing what you've shared and teasing what you've teased. And I think it's going to be a very exciting year for us as collectors to see what Syzygy comes up with, and it seems certainly to be going from strength to strength. So, really good luck with this adventure. And we'll soon be following it closely, and be excited to see what comes next. So, without any further ado, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for your time, Jordan. Thanks, Sam, and we look forward to welcome you again in the near future, no doubt. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Cheers.